Well, today was a pretty awesome day at work. One of the best I can remember. It's 11:02 p.m. right now. I clocked out like exactly at 10:30. But I did the same thing as I did yesterday. I stuck around, ate a factor meal in the break room, microwaved it in the break room. I don't have a microwave to warm those up at home, so it's the best way that I can eat one of those meals after work. So the one I had was really good too. It was like some kind of penny pasta or something, and I'm not sure what all was in it. It had shredded chicken in it, I know that. I'm really loving those meals. Speaking of Factor, in the last couple of hours, they've stepped up how much extra they're offering on shifts even farther. They must be, and by they I mean worthwhile, must be really worried about losing that account and people not taking those shifts to be adding so much money to it. Because the last ones that came through, and mind you, these are food preparation, so it's in production as opposed to fulfillment, which is fine. I mean, I'll work wherever. Shoot, they throw that much money on it, I'll happily throw the plastic bags on my feet, go get wet spraying down dishes again in sanitation. Yeah, $40 extra per shift. Now, I haven't really analyzed to see what they are. These are shifts for tomorrow that they put all that money on. I'm waiting to see what happens with Friday shifts, and I'm kind of gambling. Now, I'm in a position that I feel like I can gamble. I got all my bills covered for the month. I want to see that $40 bonus. Before I was saying I want to see that $30 bonus, but now that I know a $40 bonus is an option, I want to see that $40 bonus. And until that money gets put on the shifts for Friday, I'm not accepting it. I want that money. And granted, worst case scenario, Friday shifts get picked up. Now I do need to look over my Workwhile app and see if maybe Friday and Saturday shifts are already gone. It's possible. I haven't been really looking at it that closely today, other than, push through messages that are going through. And I'm glad they fixed a bug in the app where when I click on the shift, it's going to this screen here. What I mean by when I click on a shift, when I click on a push through message and click open, it goes to this screen here. What it was doing before is it was going to the Apple App Store, and obviously these are iOS screenshots from my iPhone 6s Plus. It was going to the Apple App Store, showing the Workwhile app, and since it's already installed, where the download button would be, there's a button that says open, and then I would open it, and I'd be in the app, and from then I'd have to hit the button to see available jobs. So, kind of neat to see that they've made a minor improvement on the functionality of the app, and it's kind of nice how I can look at that and see the estimate of the money and the hours. And interesting that they're making some options for hours other than just the 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and the 7 p.m. to 5:30 a.m. I mean, over $200 for a 1 hour shorter shift? Yes, please. That sounds great. But there is a chance it's going to backfire. If it doesn't, Priscilla asked if I would watch a documentary with her and then let her interview me for her YouTube channel. She's wanting to start a YouTube channel. That sounds like an interesting way to spend an evening. I mean, there was no promise of adult fun going with it, but I had a feeling that might lead to that. And if it doesn't, at least it'll lead to probably going to karaoke at Wonder Inn. I could really use a full night off. It's been try to get people to pick up scooters. And there was a time where they dropped what they were paying for a charged scooter all the way to $2. And it took all the juicers just saying, no, we ain't doing it. And we would just sit there. These were mostly all in the city of Phoenix. I think they were always keeping them higher than that in Scottsdale. But there wasn't as many in Scottsdale. But yeah, for a while they were having them in Phoenix at $2. And it took all the juicers going, no, we're not doing that. But that's kind of the opposite of what Factor's doing. Factor's putting more money on it. And I think people are just waiting. Why do we want to accept that job early when they can wait till later and get more money for it? Now, granted, there was some of that going on with Lime as well. But not very often did people wait for the bounties to go up and the payment to go up on finding and charging particular scooters. Usually, as long as they were $5 or higher, people jumped right on them. When they dropped some of them down to $3, a lot of people stopped doing them. I was so vested in that I didn't like it, but I still kept doing them as long as they were near each other. And I certainly wasn't driving any distance to pick up a $3 scooter by itself. But, you know, if I can pick up 3 or 4 right next to each other at the same time, yeah, that's quick, easy money. I'm still on it. But yeah, once they tried dropping it to $2, I stopped. But I do know there were some that would be kind of far out. They'd only have $5 on it, and I'd sit and wait. Like, well, not driving all the way to Franklin, right, to look at more money on it, and until something else pops up there next to it. And usually something did. But yeah, sometimes they'd raise the bounties all the way up to like $10 a scooter. So, anyway, just keeping my eyes on what's going on with Workwhile. Make the most money as possible this weekend. Got a hell of a busy week ahead of me. Tomorrow, my intake at that peer support center or whatever. I think it's technically a peer support center. And I didn't really talk much about the meeting I had with them, other than it was just really crazy because it wasn't supposed to happen. They just happened to be there, and my attorney put them with me, and it just really was happy happenstance. And the one woman was freaking gorgeous, and she was a trainee. Maybe I'm just dreaming, but it felt like she was kind of checking me out. Now I wish I could remember the name of the place. REN, R-E-N. I forget what it stands for. Recovery something. They have a lot more to offer than just the anger management group. Which, by the way, they said they would flex that around my schedule, so I wouldn't need to get a schedule modification from work to do it. So that's awesome. And, well, I walked, so y'all saw the location if you watched that video. The other thing that was really cool is they were talking about some of the other services they offer, and one of them that really caught my eye, or ear, I should say, piqued my interest, that's a better way of phrasing it, is they said they had a gym. And I was like, wow. I said, do you guys have any, like, personal trainers, people that will kind of help you with that? And they said yes. So I've thought in the past about getting a gym membership, but I've just heard so many bad things about it. Mostly that if you decide you don't want to do it anymore, it's really difficult to cancel, and that's been a big turnoff for me. But one of the main things that is kind of discouraging for me is that, especially when I was working at Amazon, I was doing such physical work that didn't really feel the need to work out. And I'm still in really good shape. My legs are actually quite toned. I mean, damn, I walk like 6-7 miles a day. But I would love to have some more upper definition. My arms are pretty toned too, but I would love to have some more like upper body definition, particularly like in my chest and abs. And I mean, I might be in my 50s, but I'm not too old to work out and get myself a six-pack, so why the hell not? Especially if I can do it through a free program. Also seemed like they had some food options there. Hey, I'm all about somebody feeding me. So I'm home. I should really cut this off right now. But one other thing I really wanted to mention, because it's funny. So not a whole lot to say about work other than it was really awesome. Jesse really came through for me unexpectedly at the end of the night. I mean, I wasn't too worried about possibly leaving, 4 or 5 cars along the wall at the Hertz returns, because I cleared everything out $1, and my focus was on the gatekeeper and then the AR thing, the on rent issue. I was talking about that earlier and how I had worked something out with, and I forgot her name already, but the night dispatcher, who I thought was a manager, and how well that worked. Well, I went in during day shift, and day shift for Hertz, it was the beginning of my shift, and it was when I was with Keontae, and there was one of those in the maintenance line, and like when I would say stuff like that to Steve would just be like, yeah, whatever, and he'd just ignore it and just drive around cranking up music I don't want to hear. But now, granted, Keontae was listening to a sports podcast that I wasn't remotely interested in off his phone, but at least he wasn't cranking it up to the point it was bothering me. It was okay for background noise. I mean, I was looking at other stuff, thinking of other stuff. It was not like Steve having stuff just so loud that it's rattling through my brain. It's a real difference. Volume level makes a difference. But yeah, I mentioned that to Keontae, and he's like, all right, and rolled us over to the office. I popped in, and then it worked out pretty good because there was also some maintenance cars there. But yeah, I talked to the gal that was sitting at the dispatch. Now that I know which desk is the dispatch desk, I was surprised when I went in. It was 2 really young, gorgeous women in there who didn't recognize me, didn't know me. But I'm like, oh yeah, I'm Daniel, nighttime maintenance, and I've been trying to work out this thing. And they knew what the issue was. They were familiar with it. They just weren't familiar with me. But then when I explained what I had been doing night shift, the gal that was the young gal that was working as dispatch for day shift, she lit up. She's like, that's great. She goes, I can just look right out the window and walk out to them when they're there. I said, yeah. And I said, I got one, but I'm sure I'll have more. And it ended up having 2 of them over there within the, after that we just went right back to the Hertz maintenance line and got the one that was there. And somebody had already scratched the window clear to try to just put it back into the dirties, which is a problem. I mean, we were just playing merry-go-round in the car, and of course I explained it to Keontae, and Keontae said his head, and it's like, yeah, dude, that's helpful, because that's just wasting everybody's time. Because it was like, maintenance didn't want to deal with it because it's not a shop issue. People would know it didn't go there, so to just not have to deal with it, they were just scraping the paint off and throwing it in the dirties. So then it goes into their, up and up-down driver ends up taking it down and putting it in a dirty line. And then a car washer ends up taking it, washing it, putting a paper ticket in it. Well, the paper ticket will say on rent, because whatever that glitch is, it doesn't show up on those papers. So then, possibly even me, but somebody will take that up, either put it in the flip ramp or take it up to a stall, or, me or Chris takes it at the flip ramp, puts it in a stall, scans it into a stall. Again, it's not showing up on that computer. It doesn't become a problem until a Hertz customer goes to that stall and figure out how many man hours and how many people worked on that vehicle. That was the solution of we just not deal with it, just scrape the paint. Before a Hertz customer gets in it, gets all settled, puts their luggage in the trunk, and gets comfortable in the car. Yeah, I like this car. And then they're driving out, and they wait through, drive out and wait through the line and go to check out, and they're told, oh, we can't check it out because that's still under contract to another person. They're frustrated because then they got to drive back. It wastes their time. They're paying good money to rent a car. They don't want their time wasted. And it's extra bad if that person's a President's Choice member, because the whole thing with the President's Choice subscription, which is quite expensive for most people, is that I've finally been learning more about President's Choice, by the way. President's Choice members don't have to check out. They don't have to go to the counter or anything. They fly in, they just take the SkyTrain to the rental car center, go down the escalator, walk out to President's Choice, grab a car. Check out. And it's the premium cars. Suddenly that convenience that they're paying extra for isn't so convenient when they get to the window and someone's like, oh yeah, well, we can't let you have that car. It's under contract to somebody else. When it's not under contract to somebody else, I mean, the contract should be ended, but the person that's in the checkout booth can't fix that. They can't put them into that car, like contract them with the car, whatever it is exactly that they do. They can't do it. So they end up having to take that car, get another car, because it's the whole thing, and then the cycle continues again. It's not getting taken care of. Well, my idea that I worked together with the nighttime dispatcher of putting it in those spaces right outside her office door in 5-star, which is, I always wondered what the 5-star section is. It's a throwback that's no longer used. It's a really small section that just is no longer used. So it comes in handy as a place to put stuff, and now the first few, at one point I had 5 in there, spots on 5-star closest to the office. That's what that's for now. And I think I've got everybody on board with that, and that was my idea. So I feel like sometimes I come up with ideas that are actually making things better. I was the one who came up with the idea of taking nighttime cars that are low batteries and putting them on the chargers. I got 3 on the chargers today. And I have noticed that some of the shop people are pulling them off. Now I know the daytime MLS maintenance drivers aren't doing it, but none of the daytime MLS maintenance drivers are trained on electric. So they're not supposed to be fucking with the chargers. I mean, I'm sure they can figure it out. It's not rocket science, but it's not something they're properly trained to do, and I think they've been told because they're not trained that they're not to do that. I am cross-trained on electric, so I'm good to go on that, and that makes me kind of unique. I'm pretty unique on that. I mean, I had a good talk with Chris, the manager, after I had the talk with Rob today, and he's like, yeah, he goes, you're the only one that I really, really know, because I see all the stuff you're doing. And so that felt really good. But yeah, the AR thing, that felt good, kind of making some progress on that. I only ended up having 2 more the rest of my shift, but still, I mean, the fact that that something worthwhile is getting done with them was good. So only other thing worth mentioning at work is this ridiculousness on a window. I couldn't find the offensive marking. I looked at the dash, but it's dark out, and I've never seen that before. Wow. I would have liked to have seen what the marking was, but I absolutely couldn't find it. I looked. Detail was already shut down for the night. Oh, that was one of the one that I think I forgot. I don't know if I mentioned it, but oh yeah. So I was going to mention it, and then I got sidetracked on something else. Yeah, I was down to the point of, I think, just having 4 or 5 cars left in the line, in the Hertz maintenance line, which they've got all those overflow cars down, so there's plenty of space there. They were against the wall. I felt pretty comfortable, and if they didn't get done, they didn't get done. Having dollar clear, having the AR thing handled, and having the maintenance yard, the gatekeeper cleared out and all the maintenance cars organized is a higher priority than that, as long as they're all against the wall and out of the way, which they were. But yeah, about pretty much straight up 10 o'clock, I'm moving a car forward. I see a car coming behind me. I'm thinking it's probably a car washer. So I'm rolling all the way forward, and I roll past the end of the gatekeeper line. And I figure that'll encourage the car washer to roll all the way to the front of it, and I can be kind of past it and just step out to get the hatch put on the car. And then I was surprised to see that it was Jesse's Up Down crew, and they brought all the cars that were in that line down so I could just sort them out. He's like, hey, I just thought this would help you out. And I'm like, that's awesome. I fist bumped him for it. And he didn't even mention last night, but I feel like Jesse and I were on the same page the entire time. Maybe not in the way he handled it, but certainly on the same page of that I was right to be upset with what was going on with Steve, and we were both on the same page that it was kind of screwed up that Anthony put him in the middle of it when it shouldn't have even been something that involves him. On that note, I didn't even talk to Anthony tonight, so I hope I didn't cause any problems with him. I like him, I really do. But I don't know. Last night was pretty overwhelming. But like I said, things went great with Rob. Oh, and as for this ridiculousness here, it was in one of the ones that came down with the crew with Jesse, the down crew that they dropped in the gatekeeper. On the right side in the blank space there, I wrote detail and a question mark, and I put it in front of detail. He'd already shut down for the night. Ball is in his court. Well, not the guy that I work with that does detail, but whoever does detail in the day shift. When they open up detail in the morning, that person can look at that car and go, what the fuck? Just like I looked at that window and went, what the fuck? And if you can find it, maybe you can clean it off. Or, I don't know. It's detail's problem. It's no longer my problem. Anyway, I should get in. I should get sleep. I can't believe I'm still like as awake as I am right now. I don't know. Must be going through one of my manic phases because I'm still wide awake right now. But I'm sure once I get relaxed in bed, I'll probably knock out pretty quick. But oh, I see two of my favorite stray cats wandering around. Oh, that reminded me. I wanted to go check on that black cat down the way. I should do that. But the two fluffy strays are wandering around to my left. Sometimes one of them likes to kick it, like right by my back door. And then when I approach the door, walk underneath the neighbor's cars. Sometimes it'll go underneath my Benz and then stare at me from under the front of my Benz. Anyway, yeah. Big day ahead of me tomorrow. Big day ahead of me Friday as well. And I got to remember I have that appointment with, before I take a factor shift, I do need to remember I have that appointment with the benefits specialist. So I don't want to miss out on that. So, anyway, thanks for coming along with me and listening to me ramble on about my boring life. But it kind of feels good to have a record of this.